Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soulprism Podcast, where we share bite-sized nuggets of wisdom for your body, mind, and soul to serve you, the emerging soulpreneur. My name is Tammy, Mack, and I'm so excited to be talking about the Taurus New Moon happening at 25 degrees of Taurus on May the 16th. Today, we have Jeana here, who is going to share her own wisdom of Taurus season and what the frequency of fulfillment means to her. Jeana McDonald is a 1-3 mental projector, and she is an energetic healing practitioner and the author of The Space Between, which is coming out soon. This work helps people navigate the gap between who they are and who they are becoming. And what a beautiful way to be guided through this journey is with a mental projector who sees this journey, sees the potential, and sees the absolute beauty of everyone. Welcome, Jeana.
Thank you, Tammy. What a great introduction.
I'm excited. It's my pleasure.
Yes, I'm excited to be here today and talk about all things Taurus.
Yes. So we have a Taurus new moon, and when we feel into Taurus themes, Taurus represents Mother Earth. The ruling planet of Taurus is Venus, and Venus is all about beauty and balance and, what brings you pleasure. And Taurus is represented by the 5 senses: what we can see, what we can hear, what we can taste, what we can smell. What am I missing?
You got to see,
okay.
Smell and feel.
And feel, of course, how we feel, because Taurus is all about how we feel. And it's very much connected to our self-worth and our values, what it is that we value. And so Taurus is very internal energy. It's about ourselves, right? It's about what it is that we feel, what it is that we are sensing, what is valuable to us, and our own innate sense of value. And this is shifting so much because what we've been conditioned through is external validation through material wealth. Very, very Taurus and very Scorpio. But now, as we are envisioning, now that we are creating, building, seeding this new earth or this new paradigm, it's moving more inwards. And so what we value and our self-worth is no longer tied to productivity, no longer tied to external validation, but instead it is deeply internal. It's how we feel versus what we've been told how to feel. What would you like to add about that, Jeana?
Well, I say that, first of all, with Taurus is a very embodied season, right? It's grounded, it's earth, like you said. And so very much about how we're feeling, what we're internalizing, what we're experiencing. And also, to your point, the dynamic is also shifting in what fulfills us and how we define our fulfillment and our, what am I trying to say, our worth, our value, what we're bringing to the table. So it's no longer going to be what we've been told or what we've been conditioned, but more from internal, what we feel, what resonates with us authentically and what does not. And so I like to say that, like, this hustle and grind is now relax and align, because that's how we find what resonates with us and what's within us. When we're so busy and we're hustling and we're grinding, we're not able to connect with that authentic part of ourselves that really is the part we need to be pleasing.
I love that so much. And for so many of us, we're so disconnected to our own feelings, right? We're very disconnected, disembodied at times, very much in the mental plane. But Taurus is bringing us back into the body, our body, and also Mother Earth and nature and the birds and the trees and planting new seeds in this Taurus new moon. How many people start their gardens during a Taurus new moon? I know myself, I will be planting a garden in the next weekend after the Taurus new moon. When we look at it through the lens of human design, the sun is in gate 8 of fulfillment. In traditional human design, is actually the gate of contribution. And in quantum human design, it is the gate of fulfillment. And it comes out of the throat chakra. And so we are starting to express our true, embodied, authentic version of ourselves. And so that is our unique contribution. It's not what you do, but it's who it is that you are. And so whenever I picture gate 8, I always see, or I hear first the song from Dolly Parton, The Coat of Many Colors, right? Because of all of these different layers of conditioning and all these different layers of our lineage that has formed our perception of who it is that we are. And so when we take off these layers, we get to truly shine through our soul prism, through our own light, and through our trueness of who it is that we are, not who it is that we were told to be. And so you being you is your authentic contribution. Jeana, I know you have a beautiful example of how you've already experienced this week.
I did experience this week, and it's so funny because you reflect back and you go, oh, I see where that is actually happening and being activated in my life. And so a little bit of preface, I've been struggling with being visible, right? And so I just left a 30-year career in corporate where I was an expert. I was, the one that people came to, and I didn't have any problem being visible in there. But I left that job and career to follow my soul, which is my energy healing and my authoring and my mentoring of people going through identity transitions, right? Because there are many times in our life when we're called forward. So I've been struggling with being visible in that authenticity. That is who I am. But we get, like you said, that conditioning, those layers of who we think we're supposed to be. And so I had an opportunity. I got invited to be part of a Women of Business group. And they were hosting a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, the chamber meeting in the little town that I practice in. And so I went to this meeting, and I did not know that at the meeting, everyone has a 10-second opportunity to stand up and say who they are and what they do. And but I did. I stood up, and with my full chest for the first time, I said, I am Jeana McDonald, and I'm an energy healing practitioner, and I use crystals and Reiki and sound to work on the energetic body. And I felt so good. I felt so calm. I felt, the calm, that's the huge part, right? Because that's like your nervous system is saying, we're safe here. You're like, you feel safe saying that. So that was my first thing, is understanding that my body felt safe saying that I was authentically expressing myself, and it was safe. And then there was like this, suddenly I didn't have this, where it's like, it could be kind of cringe. It's a little woo. It's kind of out there, right? And I was like, the people that are going to appreciate me, that are going to be my people, are going to be right there. And the people that I'm not for, it's okay. Like, I'm not for everybody. I don't have to be for everybody, but that was like such a freeing thought. And so it was really cool, because after all the introductions and they did their business, and then we have a chance to network, and like people were approaching me and, hey, I want to hear about what you do, and can I have your card and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I looked over and I noticed that I had handed my card out to a gentleman, and he got up and left my card. And I was like, instead of going, oh, I was like, cool, I'll just take my resource back and put that back in my purse, and I got a card to give to somebody else. So it was just, that's that gate 8 in action, right? That authentic expression of who you are attracting who is for you. And so it was really just, and actually, personally, because I am woo, I feel like it was a portal experience for me and like an initiation, right? The universe gave me the opportunity. I accepted the opportunity. I crossed that threshold, and like now I have opened up another avenue of authentic self-expression for myself.
I love that story, Jeana, so much. First of all, I celebrate women. I celebrate people who are coming out of their woo closet, right?
Yep, I'm out.
You know, and it can be a scary thing, right? It's a scary thing because we can fear judgment, we can fear rejection, we have all of these fears that can keep us stuck and playing small. But once you open the doors to your heart and you allow the trueness of who it is that you are, you know, authentic is such a buzzword right now, and alignment. But for me, it's like the more that you shine, you let your freak flag shine, you wave it in the air, it's going to attract, it's going to magnetize the right people. And so when we create that momentum, it creates more clarity. And so you beautifully showed us how when you stood in your authentic version of yourself, of who it is that you are, no fucks given, people were actually attracted to that. And people came up to you after and asked to work with you, right? And so instead of dimming your light, instead of mumbling under your lips, instead of trying to make it something that it wasn't, you stood up for who it is that you are. And it was well received. So I love that so much.
And I totally get what you're saying about the words authenticity, and you know, because that kind of makes it be like when we're being our conditioned version of ourselves that we're not authentic to, and it's like that's not true. You are authentically who you are in every moment that you exist. So I appreciate that kind of opportunity to clarify those words, because what I'm meaning is when you are speaking from that soul of you, the part of you that is underneath all the conditioning, the part of you that wants to come out but is scared. To your point, we fear rejection. That's normal. We fear being kicked out of the tribe, right? Because that means not being safe. So, but the cool thing that I experienced and got to witness today is that your vibe actually attracts your tribe. So when you are coming from that just juicy part of yourself that, you know, like you said, you're freak, when you're coming from your freak and you let that freak out, your tribe finds you. And then you get to hang out with other fun freaks.
I mean, that's why we build businesses, so that we can hang out with other freaks, right?
Right? Precisely.
So speaking of business, the sun is in gate 8 of fulfillment. It's of expression of the true self of who you are. But the earth, what grounds us, what nurtures us, what stables us, which creates that safety within us, is actually in gate 14. And this comes out of the sacral. It is the gate, it's actually the only gate in human design that talks about money. And because it comes out of the sacral, it's that life force energy that you use to create a business, a product, whatever it is that you love to create, and to create sustainability. Because that is the one thing that we are starting to learn so much more. When you're performing or in performance or putting masks on, it exhausts you, right? It takes energy. It takes that life force energy. When you're creating from something that you've been told is tried and true, that works for other people, but isn't aligned with you, that is a recipe for burnout. But when you can stand in who it is that you truly are and create from that source, it is possible to create sustainability because it's not hard work. It's who you are. So you don't have to put on masks. You don't have to perform. You're not leaking energy. You are being true to yourself. And the more that you can take care of yourself, the more that you know, like, and trust yourself, the more that frequency that frequency is felt. It magnetizes. It becomes a magnet. It becomes attractive. You become a lighthouse for who it is that you are, not what it is that you're performing or what it is that you're doing. And so when you can come into yourself and allow that energy to move through you, that is where that creation comes from. And Jeana, I know that you have felt this and you create from your own source of wisdom.
It's true. And so it's so interesting that you bring that up, because that, when we're building a business, it's always a good idea to have more than one revenue stream, right? And so I was taking, just this week, I was taking a look at my business, and I made a conscious decision to cut one of my revenue streams. And honestly, it makes me good money, but it drains my soul. It's what I'm good at, but it takes me back to who I'm not anymore. And so I made that conscious decision to cut that energy, or cut that revenue stream, because it's an energetic leak. It's draining me, and then that's taking away from the energy I have to follow my passion, to follow my bliss, to do what fulfills me. And by doing those things, I'm creating the medicine and the magic for the people that I'm here to serve. And so that was kind of an eye-opener, and it took a little bit of courage to let go of that safety net. But I feel like by doing that, I'm just blowing the doors open for so much more. And it's not going to just be a one-for-one trade. It's going to be getting rid of that energetic leak is actually going to have a compound effect in adding the energy back to the things I'm focused on bringing to life now.
I love that so much. First of all, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, right? And this is something that as projectors, we've been so conditioned to do, right? To be known for what it is that we do instead of who it is that we are. And as you said, Jeana, your job, your full-time job, is to follow your bliss. Because the more that you follow your bliss, the more that is going to juice you up, which is going to create that creative energy to express. And so your job is to stay juicy, really, to keep those creative juices flowing so that you have the energy to serve with capacity. Because Taurus is a fixed sign. We're a little stubborn at times, but also it is a beautiful place, a beautiful time to create capacity, right? To fill up any of those holes, those energetic leaks that you may have had, and to build that capacity so that you can stretch the limits of that capacity to create, to spiral, to create more. Me and Jeana were talking about structure and flexible frameworks the other day, and how even though we may want to be in the feminine all the time and receiving and in our blissness, we need structure, right? We need either container or some sort of containment to hold the feminine, to support the feminine, and allow the feminine to grow.
Well, and interestingly enough, in Chinese medicine, the yin, the feminine, is actually the structure, and the yang is the chaos that the structure contains. So when we can realize that we can embody the feminine and bring in the structure, be the structure that contains the chaos, then we realize we don't have to give up something in order to obtain that structure, right? And so I know that the conversation we had was, for me, structure feels very limiting. It feels like compression. It feels like lack of freedom. And so we really had to do some conversation about, is it really lack of freedom? And for me, no, it's not really lack of freedom. It's more fear of commitment, because I don't want to commit to something because that I might want to do something else, because that's my nature. 1-3, I'm an explorer. That's what I do. And so that's where we were really talking about that flexible structure, where it's like you can operate in it, but it has the capacity to expand and contract with you. And so that was just such a fun conversation, and a cool way to look at structure and being able to apply that, especially in your business.
That's beautiful. So since you mentioned 5-element healing, we're going to talk about Soulprism 5-element healing during this new moon. So during springtime, we're in the element of wood, and wood is connected to your liver and gallbladder. The emotions that are associated with this is anger and resentment, but it's also turning that into kindness and compassion for yourself and for others. And so the first part of wood element season is very connected to the body. We're connected to our fascia. We're connected to our piezoelectric system. And so we are supporting ourselves through stretching, through moving our body, through moving any stuckness, any tendencies in our tendons, right? We're dancing with our dragons, connecting to our visionary soul, the Hun. It's called. And so we're still not dreaming, we're still supporting our body, but it's very internal. Now we are moving into the second half of wood season, and so we're moving into the yang. We're moving into the expression. We're looking outside, we're seeing that the trees are starting to bud, they're starting to express themselves more, and that's the same with us. And so it works so beautifully with human design and astrology, where we're starting to express ourselves, but from seed, right? From the seed of dreams, from the seed, from that creation of who it is that we are. And so it's an internal process, an internal alchemy of now moving through that stuckness, stretching our bodies, teaching our bodies that it's safe to move into new directions. And now we're starting to express those new directions as we move into summer and the heart, the fire, and we move into the most yang, where we're expressing ourselves. So this is a beautiful time to bring that into contemplation, to bring that into journaling, to bring that into how is this moving through my life right now.
Absolutely. And another thing to bring in too when we're thinking about the spring, what do they do? Now I'm going into my little herbalist tendencies, but in the spring, what do? We drink the tonics and the teas to clean out the bile. And I just think of, and that right through your gallbladder, through your liver system. And I just think of that too as like, that's also that deconditioning, right? We're cleaning it out. We're letting go of what's keeping us stuck. We're letting go of what's not moving smoothly, because we are going into that fire season where things speed up, and we have to be able to have that flexibility and that adaptability to move with it. So I love how it all ties together. It ties together with human design. It ties together astrologically. It ties together with just the ancient medicine that we honestly know for our body. And it's really a beautiful thing, because it tells you that you are exactly right where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now.
I am drinking lemon and cucumber water, which is detoxifying, right? It's detoxifying. It's adding minerals into your body. It's cleansing. But yesterday you were craving something.
What was I craving yesterday?
You were craving dandelion tea.
Oh, yeah, I had
And the
it. I had the
dandelions are
dandelion
popping
and
out.
milk thistle tea, and that's the same thing that affects your liver and your gallbladder, and just that detoxifying, that same thing, just helping things that are sluggish move out. And especially the liver, it's really liver season right now, and I just can tell and feel it in my body. And so that's why I was just wanting that dandelion tea, and I do dandelion milk thistle, and it's just such a supportive combination for your liver.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, we're working with our lymphatic system through the piezoelectric, through our body, through our tendons, through our muscles, but the liver cleans our blood. And so we're also detoxifying our liver so that it's clean, so that it can move, like when we move into summer, when we move into yang, when we move into expression, when we're moving more, we have that clean blood to circulate and to keep us healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing.
Those bodies know what they're doing.
They do. And yes, we can rely on science. I love science, but I also I love ancient wisdom, and I love using our body and using what's already naturally abundant around us to heal our body. And then when we do need science, when we do need Western medicine, we can use that, right? But not always relying, once again, on external validation or external authority. We're moving more now into the internal authority and internal regulation. In order to do that, we have to know ourselves. And there is so much ancient wisdom out there that we can work with that can support us. So it's going to support us on a daily basis when we move through the alchemy wheel.
Well, and there's ancient wisdom inside us. The ancient wisdom isn't just out there. It's in us. It's in our bones. It's in our marrow. We know. We just have been so disconnected from our bodies that it's time to pay more attention to our inner wisdom. And I love what you said about every system has its place. Western medicine, Eastern medicine. And I don't look at it as an either or, but a yes and, right? Both have their place. Both can support you.
Absolutely. Yes. And so looking at the wholeness, right? The wholeness and the parts of the wholeness. And so, it's yes and it's all of it. And it's having that wider perspective and being able to have the capacity to hold that wider perspective so that we can be all of who it is that we came here to be. So I want to thank you so much, Jeana, for being on the Soulprism Podcast today to talking about the Taurus New Moon, some of the things that we can contemplate, move through, practice this Taurus New Moon, and I can't wait to catch you on the next podcast.
Thanks so much, Tammy. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I'm just excited for all of our new expressions.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.